Hi everybody, welcome. Tammy from Tammy's Homesteading Crafts. Today we are in the garden and we are going to be planting our garden today. So if that is something that interests you, stick around. So before we get started, I just want to welcome all of you to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. For those of you who this might be the very first video you're watching, I hope you enjoy the content. We do a lot of different videos here on this channel. We do a gardening video, we do preserving videos, we do some knitting and crocheting videos, and well, really not crocheting, just knitting. And we talk about updates to our website, and we also dabble in a little bit of tutorials for cooking and knitting. So hopefully you enjoy the content. If you guys have not subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so. It does benefit me greatly by you subscribing to my channel. Okay, so let's get into the garden tour. Getting into planting the garden. Okay, so for those of you who've been around a little bit, you know that I have not figured out how to do time-lapse. So first we're going to talk about the vegetables that we're going to plant in the garden and get them ready to go in, and then I will take you on a little bit of a tour of some of the stuff that I've already planted because of the early spring that you can get in. So the first things that I'm going to be planting are sorry, probably out of the frame. We have super sweet 100 tomatoes. These are a little cherry tomato that I get a couple of these to put in pots around the deck, so I've got those. And I usually buy all of my fruits and vegetables in packs of 2. Sorry, we're annoying a bird. This is another super sweet. Okay, let's see what this one is. This one is a giant garden paste tomato. So this is new to me. I've not done this one before. Usually I'll do alpacas, and then I will do like American Goldman, which is a nice big paste tomato. I haven't been able to get the American Goldman for a couple of years, so I found this giant garden paste tomato. So I was going to try this one this year. So that's new for me this year. The other tomato that I have going in the garden, of course, is my Heinz. These are a paste tomato, good for like making ketchup and stuff like that, which I did last year for the first time, and it turned out really, really well. Let's see what's the other tomato I have. Oh, and then of course my alpacas. So I got 2 of every one of these tomatoes to go put into the garden. He's a little wilty. Gonna have to make sure he gets some water here on this one and fertilize him when I get him in the ground. Okay, so then the other thing that I ended up getting was some peppers. And if you've been watching, you've been seeing that I've been planting these yum yum peppers, which are like the little yellow peppers, the little variety colored peppers. You get them in yellow, orange, and red in the grocery store. That they're about this big and they're really sweet. And these are called the yum yum pepper, which are about that. They only get orange. Mine only get orange, but they're really sweet when they're orange or green. So I have these 2 of those plants to get put in the garden. And then I have a California Wonder pepper. It's supposed to be a giant red sweet pepper, early pepper. So we're gonna see. This is new for me to get this year, but all of the plants were pretty large. I was able to get 2 of all of those. And the last pepper that I ended up getting, and I usually always get them and I put them in pots on my front porch, is the Chinese 5 color. This is a little spicy of a pepper that we put in, and it looks like gumdrops on the plants, or it looks like gumdrops on the plants that grow upside down for colorful out on the front porch. And I just usually put them there. They're nice for if you're making salsa, to add a little bit of heat and stuff to your salsa. So those are the plants that I bought at the local greenhouse that we have. I'm going to get these planted, but I will actually take you and show you what I have growing, what I've started planting already. So let's do that. So the other day I went to our local Lowe's or Home Depot or one of them, and ended up getting some new basil. So I got basil to put into this pot. I got them planted in here, growing pretty good. So that's the start of some of the herbs that I have. I had planted radishes, and as you can tell, something has been into the radishes big time, digging around, looking for who knows what, digging everything up. I got a net over this one, hopefully to be able to keep whatever it is out of there. We're going to put more netting over the rest of these so that I can keep them from getting into it. This one had a whole bunch of carrot seeds into it, and as you can see, something was in there really digging up the dirt. There's big huge holes. I just straightened it out a little bit ago. Terrible. Lost all the carrots that were in there that were coming up. Oop, my finger's in there, sorry. And I will have to replant those, so that's part of my job today, but I've also got to get covering over that. This one has, as you can see, some carrots there that are growing. 2 different seeds apparently in here. They came out of the same pack, so I don't know what it is, but we got some purple carrot seeds and then some green carrot seeds. But they were also into this one and dug up a lot of this, so I'm going to overseed both of these pots today and possibly get some more carrots going. Onions that came up from last year that were seeds that are bulbs that were still left in the pot from last year, so we're just letting them grow and see what happens. They also, as you can see, the hole, they got into here as well and started digging into where I had planted some lettuce. You can see the holes that they have down in there digging for who knows what. I don't know what it is and what they're digging for, but they're in there digging for something. But yeah, this was a thing of spring mix lettuce that I was trying to see if it grew, and it did. It took off and it grew, but got to keep the whatever critter is getting in here out of it. I don't know if it's the birds or if it's a chipmunk crawling up the side. I don't know. So we've got some cardboard cloth we're going to put over top of these to keep the stuff out. So let's look at our strawberries. So our strawberries are doing pretty good. We've got a lot of flowers on them. We don't have a ton in our strawberry patch here. It is a lot of them are growing on the outside of the patch, and I've got to get them cut and out of there because I don't want them to be all over the place. I want to try to keep them in this little bed if I can. But yeah, and maybe this will be the last year for strawberries. I don't know. I've got to get that cleaned out. There's a lot of extra stuff in there that just didn't break down over the year last year, so I've got to get that out. But I probably will wait till after the strawberries are done for the season and then cut them off, because got a little strawberry there, a couple of them. So hopefully we will get some strawberries to eat here. Probably not a bunch to do anything with. If I want strawberries, I'm gonna have to go and pick and buy some strawberries, but we'll see, and we'll take what we can get for the free ones here that we have in the garden. Okay, so let's look at the rhubarb. Okay, our rhubarb is doing really, really well. It's got a lot of nice big leaves on it. I need to do another picking of the rhubarb, but our rhubarb is doing very well, growing really good. Okay, so our blueberries, they had a ton of flowers on them, and as you can see, we've got some blueberries starting. Hopefully, with all the flowers that we had, we will really have a good amount of blueberries like we did the first year we had our blueberries. Somebody had told me that blueberries were an every other year fruit production, so you had a good year, then you didn't get very many. And we didn't get very many last year, but we have had, the very first year we had them, we had quite a few. And we have a ton of flowers this year, so hopefully that's the sign that we will get a bunch of blueberries. So I'm looking forward to that. And our berry patch. Well, we have raspberries that are doing really, really well. They doubled and tripled in size as they were. And then our blackberries that we have some flowers on the blackberries already. Hopefully we will get some decent amount of blackberries. We've got buds to get flowers for our raspberries. Looking forward to that. But our herbs in the corner over here, the one didn't really make it through the winter, so I'm going to dig that one up. The other one is doing okay. We do have a berry patch or a berry bush inside the middle of that, so we'll get that cleaned out of there. But yeah, other than that, everything seems to be doing really good with the stuff that came back from last year. Okay, and then we have our parsley that every 2 years, it regrows every year. It drops its seeds, and I let it in this pot, and we have a ton of parsley in the bottom of that. At first, when I started growing, I thought it was weeds, so I pulled it all out, and then I realized that, oh, I think that was parsley growing. So now I've left it grow, and it's kind of hard to tell what's weeds and what's not weeds in there. So I'll let it get nice and big before I start cutting it again. But other than that, those are all the things we have growing. Let's get into getting some stuff into the ground. So with our carrot seeds, we when I plant them in a pot like this, I just sprinkle them in and then just dust them over. I overseed when I put them in the pot just because I never know what's going to come up. But I'm going to use half this pack for this pot and then the rest of it for this other pot because I'm going to overseed that as well. And then I will just put some new soil over top of these so that they can grow. And then I will definitely make sure that I water everything today with the fish fertilizer to get that into the soil. Okay, so when you go to plant your peppers and tomatoes, peppers you can do just a nice big deep hole, and you can plant them. Get the pepper here. Sorry, I'm trying to do this one-handed. You want to take and flare out the roots so that they are not all stuck down at the bottom. So loosen up your roots, and then you can put that way deep in the hole and cover it. You want to cover these new leaves and bring it up to the top of your ground, right to the very bottom of this of the new really original growth leaf. This is one of the permanent leaves that they have. These are the new leaves that when they start and they fall off. So you want to loosen the bottom of it and put that way down in the hole and put your dirt up to the top, just to almost touching that plant, that leaf there on there, up there. Of course, we have weed fabric, so we can get whatever dirt we can from underneath our weed fabric, but it's almost to the bottom of that. That gives it a nice sturdy base inside for your peppers. So you want to just make sure that that's how you plant your peppers. Get them nice and deep. Get those beginning leaves that they start out with in the ground. Get them buried really well and get it up to almost the bottom of your other leaf. It's about almost an inch, finger width, from the ground to that very first leaf there. But that's what you want to do for your peppers. So go ahead and plant all of your peppers like that. That way they will have a nice they'll have a nice deep root, and they can get nice and tall by allowing them to have a deep root system in the ground. So now that I have my peppers all planted into the ground as deep as I need them to be, I'm going to take tomato cages is what I ended up using to keep them standing, and also it allows me to put some hardware cloth around the bottom of them, because I've learned over the years if I do not do that right away, as soon as I plant them, and put the hardware cloth around the bottom of the cage, I have a friend that comes into the garden and eats everything down to one leaf. They've done it every year to me, I plant and I get tired and I go into the house and I don't come back out, and then the next day I come out and they've eaten everything right down to nothing. So I am not going to let that happen this year, and I am going to take care of it right away. So I'm going to, next I will put my cages over top of all of the peppers that I planted, and I will get the cardboard cloth around the bottom of it. It's just set around the bottom. It's just enough to deter them from really getting in there and eating anything. It's really not hooked all that well. It's just kind of stuck around the bottom of the cage, but just enough to keep them from wanting to get into the garden. Kind of like what I have to do to the pots. Have not figured out what it is that is eating it. When we had our other dog, we had no problems with critters in the garden. But our dog we have now is a special dog, and she does not know how to catch critters. So she knows how to chase them and how to dig for them, but she does not know how to catch them. So we have to do what we need to do to make sure that we get them all, keep all of our vegetables nice and safe. So with tomato plants, they need to be deep again like your peppers, but they also need to have an oblong hole, because what you're going to do is you're going to take your tomato. Again, you're going to flare out the roots on the bottom just so that they're not all connected together from the pot. But you're going to take and put your root end sideways like that, and then bring your plant up and try not to break it, and get all of those leaves down there in the ground and covered with dirt. If I can get it to focus without a leaf in front of the camera. There. So all of that, you bend it a little bit so that all of this gets into the dirt. But that's how you plant your tomatoes, so that they will have, because all of these feelers here, all this will grow feelers in the ground, and the more stem you have will allow it to grab and grow more roots, and it'll be a sturdier tomato plant for you doing that. But just make sure that when you do it, that you just bend it slightly and don't break it when you do it. Usually they're pretty pliable and they're pretty flexible that you can do that without them breaking. And you want to get a couple of these leaves covered up as well. So that is how you would plant your tomato plants. Let me get mine planted and I'll show you what they look like. Okay, so there it is planted. It's the one that was a little on the wilty side. It's a little warm out here and they are getting a little wilty, so I need to hurry up and get these planted so that I can give them a really, really good drink of water with the fertilizer, so that they can get a nice fresh start. Since they've been shocked from their little pot into the ground, we're going to give them a good drink of the fish emulsion fertilizer so that they can start growing. These were pretty decent size tomatoes and peppers that I got this year, so hopefully they will take off and do really good. A lot of the peppers already have almost flowers on them, so it might be that we are having some fruit earlier than we normally do. But let me get the rest of these planted before they get too warm and wilted, and then I can get them watered. Well, we got everything planted and all of the cages around them. These tomatoes that were a little wilty are doing actually really well. After they were fertilized and watered, they perked right back up. So we've got all the garden planted is what we're gonna plant at the moment. Other than that, we don't have anything else to put in the garden. We probably won't be doing a whole lot of extra stuff in the garden. We did, however, plant our cucumbers down here. See if we get some seeds of those to come up. We replanted our carrots in those pots there and put covers over them so that they will not, whatever critter was getting into them will not get into them again. But that is planting my garden. Well guys, that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Planting the garden with me. I got quite a bit of stuff done today, and hopefully we will be able to have quite a good garden this year. That's my plan. Got rid of some plants that were dying and replanted everything else. Everything has been watered. We've got cages around it so that that little critter will not get into anything. The only thing we have left to do is plant our 2 hot peppers, which will go in pots on the front deck, along with my canna plants. I actually totally forgot that I had those bulbs in the basement. Have to get them out so that I can get them planted in the pots that I have here, along with getting them on the front porch. They actually should have probably been planted a month ago to get them to sprout. They probably will not, and I might not do anything with them this year because they probably will not grow and give me many flowers because they're a little late in the season this year. But yeah, that's it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it, and as always, I will see you on the next one. Have a good day. Bye.